Bonjour. My name is Amanda. My pronouns are she, her, and hers, and this is my teacher YouTube channel. Welcome, bienvenue. I wanted to start a channel because I noticed that there weren't many, or any that I can think of, teachers who teach in language immersion programs, which is the world that I'm in. So I'll tell you a little bit about myself and my teaching background. Like many teachers, I've always wanted to be a teacher, so that's no surprise where I ended up. I grew up in Ontario. Yes, I am a Canadian teacher as well. So I grew up in Ontario and I went to university there. I did my 2 bachelor degrees in, oh my goodness, like a decade ago. My first degree is where I majored in math and French, and then my second degree is my Bachelor of Education. Once I graduated with my Bachelor of Education, trying to find a job in Ontario was challenging, and I knew that I would have to be on the sub list for a couple of years before I got longer term occasional positions before I could get a permanent contract, and I had student loans and I wanted a job. I wasn't really tied down to anything in Ontario, so I was applying all over the world, really, and I ended up accepting my first teaching job for 5 months in a small town in Saskatchewan. I grew up close to Toronto, so small town was a change. I lived in the town for about 5 weeks before I ended up moving to Saskatoon and then commuting an hour each way to work. I also learned how interesting the winters in Saskatchewan were. And a 5-month contract turned into a full year contract, turned into me living in Saskatchewan for 5 years. So when I did my university training, I was in the primary junior program, which is kindergarten to grade 6. I took additional courses so that I was certified to teach kindergarten to grade 12 with specializations in math and French. And those were valid in Ontario. I was lucky that they also transferred to Saskatchewan. So I was hired to teach grade 6 to 12 core French my first 5 months, and then the second 5 months was what was lovingly called a dog's breakfast of courses. I had math, social studies, science, health, career ed, like really the leftovers. But I loved it. I loved it. And then I was hired to work in Saskatoon, and that's where I taught high school, so grade 9 to 12, and I taught mostly French immersion and math courses. Some of the math courses were in French. If you're not familiar with French immersion, what it is really just normal school, but done in French for students where typically their first language is not French. So change for me because I was not a product of the French immersion system. I actually went through the core French system, which is where starting in grade 4 and up until grade 12, I had French as a course for about an hour a day, maybe. So I learned French in university, really, and my first French immersion job was a bit intimidating, so I did learn a lot of French while teaching as well. Anyway, so I taught high school math, French. I taught some history courses in French, which I'm definitely not certified in history, and looking back, I wish that better decisions were made in terms of that hiring because I didn't do it justice. And that was that. And then at the end of my 5 years, we moved to BC. So currently I am living and teaching in BC. After 5 years of high school, I was hired to teach a grade 4-5 French immersion class. And that means all of the subjects were taught in French. Big change, exciting. That lasted a year, and now I'm going to go into my third year of teaching grade 1-2 French immersion. So I started off in high school, I'm down in grade 1-2 French the entire time. Don't ask me to pick a favorite because I don't have one yet. I love like all the grades I've taught. So that's a little bit about me. My teaching style is very, like, I like to think it's chill. I am a huge fan of Reggio-inspired math, so I try to incorporate that into my teaching. Play-based learning, nature learning. We're lucky that in BC, like, we're always a walk away from a forest or a beach, so we take advantage of it. Anyways, I'm excited to welcome you to my channel, and I hope you stick around for some more. Okay, à la prochaine!